Welcome. This book is for anyone who has ever felt swept away by their own emotions and wished they could find a calmer, steadier place inside. Maybe you've had days when anger flared faster than you could catch it. Maybe anxiety has kept you awake, turning small worries into mountains. Maybe sadness has settled in your chest and refused to leave. Maybe you've wondered why joy feels so far away some days, even when life looks fine on the outside. If any of that sounds familiar, you're in the right place. And the most important thing I want you to hear right now is this: you are not broken. You are not weak. You are simply human, and being human means feeling a wide range of things, sometimes all at once. This book is about something gentler and more realistic: learning to meet your emotions with understanding instead of fear. Creating small moments of space so you can choose how you respond instead of being carried away. Treating yourself with the same patience and kindness you already offer the people you care about. We'll walk through this together, step by step. No complicated rules. No pressure to be perfect. Just simple, kind tools you can try, one breath, one small choice, one quiet noticing at a time. You don't need to fix everything today. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You only need to be willing to begin. So take a slow breath with me. Feel your feet on the floor, your back against the chair, the air moving in and out. This moment, right here, is a good place to start. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Understanding your emotions. Emotions are like the weather inside us. Some days feel bright and calm, other days stormy and heavy. They come and go naturally, just like clouds moving across the sky. The good news is that we don't have to be pushed around by every passing storm. With time and practice, we can learn to understand these inner patterns and handle them in healthier ways. Every single day we feel many things. A rush of happiness when a friend messages us unexpectedly. Annoyance when plans get cancelled at the last minute. Worry before speaking in a meeting. Quiet sadness when we see an old photo. All these feelings are normal. They are part of being human. The challenge appears when an emotion becomes so strong that it takes over. We might snap at someone we care about, send an angry text we wish we could delete, or freeze up and avoid something important. Later we often think, that wasn't the real me. Why did I react like that? This happens because our brain has two different systems that don't always move at the same speed. One part reacts lightning fast. It's the ancient survival system that shouts danger, or protect yourself, before we even finish thinking. When it activates, our heart beats faster, our breathing changes, our muscles tighten. It's very useful when a car suddenly swerves toward us, but not so helpful when the threat is someone's rude comment or a tight deadline. The other part of the brain, the calmer, thinking part, is slower. It helps us weigh options, remember our values, consider how others might feel, and choose a wise response. When emotions surge very strongly, they can temporarily drown out this thoughtful side. That's why people sometimes say or do things in the heat of the moment that they would never choose if they were calm. Here's the important point. Emotional control does not mean never feeling angry, anxious, sad, or frustrated. That would be impossible and also not healthy. Our emotions carry useful messages. Anger often points to something we care about deeply that feels threatened. Fear tries to keep us safe. Sadness helps us process loss. Joy shows us what matters most to us. The real goal is simple and life-changing. Notice what you're feeling without immediately judging it. Give yourself a moment to breathe and think. Choose how you want to respond instead of letting the first impulse take over. That small gap between feeling something and acting on it makes all the difference. When we don't have much emotional control, life can feel exhausting. Arguments escalate quickly. Stress lingers for hours. Relationships get strained. We replay conversations in our head at night, wishing we had said something different. Our body stays tense, sleep suffers, and sometimes small health problems start showing up. When we build more emotional control, the opposite happens. We stay steadier during hard moments. We express ourselves clearly instead of exploding or shutting down. People around us feel safer and more respected. We bounce back faster after disappointments. Inner peace becomes more familiar, even when outer life is busy or uncertain. The best part? These are skills anyone can learn. You didn't come into the world knowing how to ride a bicycle or cook a meal. You practiced until it felt natural. Emotional mastery works exactly the same way. No one is born good at staying calm or bad at handling anger. We all start somewhere, and we all improve through gentle, consistent practice. Many people are afraid that paying more attention to their emotions will make them feel worse. Usually the opposite happens. When we ignore or push feelings away, they often grow louder and more confusing in the background. When we turn toward them with kindness and curiosity, okay, I notice I'm really irritated right now, they tend to lose some of their power. The simple act of naming and accepting what's happening inside often brings relief. Let's try a tiny practice right now. Take one slow breath in through your nose, and let it out gently through your mouth. Just notice. How does your body feel in this moment? Is your chest tight? Are your shoulders raised? Is your mind racing or relatively quiet? There's no right or wrong answer. Just friendly observation. That small moment of noticing is actually the foundation of everything we'll build together. You don't need to be perfect at this. Even tiny improvements add up. Responding just 5% more calmly once a day creates a huge change over weeks and months. Think of it like planting seeds. You don't see the flower the day you plant it, but with regular care, it grows strong. This audiobook will walk with you step by step. We'll look at the main emotions we all feel, how to create a helpful pause in heated moments, ways to calm your body when stress rises, how to speak honestly without losing control, and much more. Everything will stay simple, practical, and gentle. Chapter 2. The main emotions. What anger, fear, sadness, and joy are really trying to tell you. Emotions are not random noise inside us. They are messengers. Each one carries information about what we value, what we need, or what might need our attention. When we learn to listen to them instead of fighting them or getting swept away by them, everything starts to feel less confusing. In this chapter, we'll look at 4 of the most common and powerful emotions: anger, fear, sadness, and joy. We'll keep it simple and see what each one is really trying to tell us. Let's start with anger. Anger feels hot, fast, and urgent. Many people think anger is bad or dangerous, but anger itself is not the problem. It's a signal that something important to you feels threatened, blocked, or treated unfairly. Underneath almost every wave of anger, there is a "this matters to me" message. When someone cuts in line and you feel a flash of irritation, anger is saying, "My time and fairness matter." When a colleague takes credit for your work, anger whispers, or sometimes shouts, "My effort and respect matter." When you see someone being cruel to a child or an animal, anger rises to protect, kindness and safety matter. Anger points to boundaries and values. It's like an inner alarm that says, something here is not okay with me. The emotion is trying to give you energy to act, to speak up, to protect, to restore fairness. The trouble comes when we either swallow the anger completely, and it turns into resentment or physical tension, or let it explode without thinking, and hurt people or relationships. The healthy middle path is noticing the anger, asking what value feels threatened right now, and then choosing a clear, calm way to respond. Next comes fear. Fear is the body's way of saying pay attention, possible danger ahead. It's one of the oldest emotions we have because it kept our ancestors alive. Today the danger is rarely a tiger. It's more often uncertainty, rejection, failure, conflict, or losing someone we love. Fear shows up in many forms. A tight stomach before giving a presentation. What if I look foolish? Hesitation to ask for what you need. What if they say no and I feel rejected? Worry that loops at night about money, health, or the future. What if everything falls apart? Fear is trying to keep you safe. It wants you to prepare, to be careful, to think ahead. That's useful. But when fear grows too big, it can trap us, making us avoid things that are actually good for us, like new opportunities or honest conversations. The key is learning to thank fear for its warning, check whether the danger is real and immediate, and then decide whether to move forward anyway. Most of the time, the worst-case story our mind tells us never happens. Fear is loud, but it's not always accurate. Now let's talk about sadness. Sadness feels heavy, slow, and quiet. It often comes after loss of a person, a dream, a relationship, a season of life, even a version of ourselves we used to be. Sadness says, "This mattered deeply to me, and now it's gone or changed." People sometimes try to push sadness away because it hurts to feel it. But sadness has an important job. It helps us process, release, and eventually let go. When we allow ourselves to feel sad without rushing through it, we honor what was valuable. We say goodbye properly. We make space for new things to grow. Sadness also connects us to others. When we share our sadness honestly, without needing to fix it right away, people usually respond with kindness and presence. That connection often feels healing. Trying to pretend we are fine when we are not usually creates distance instead. Sadness is not the enemy of happiness. It's actually part of the path toward deeper happiness. The more we can sit with sadness when it arrives, the more freely joy can return later. Finally, joy. Joy is lighter. It feels warm, open, alive. It often comes in small moments, laughing with a friend, hearing a favorite song, watching a child discover something new, finishing a task you cared about, feeling the sun on your face after a long week. Joy says, "This is good. This matters. This is worth savoring." Joy is our inner compass pointing toward what truly nourishes us: connection, beauty, meaning, play, love. When we pay attention to moments of joy, we learn what we want more of in life. Unfortunately, many people wait for huge, perfect events to feel joy: a big vacation, a perfect relationship, a major achievement. But real joy usually hides in ordinary places. A warm cup of tea, a kind word, a silly joke, the feeling of being fully present. The more we notice and welcome small joys, the more steady our inner peace becomes. Joy doesn't erase hard feelings, but it reminds us that life still holds good things even on difficult days. Here's what these four emotions have in common. None of them are mistakes. They are all trying to help us live in line with what matters most to us. Anger guards our values. Fear protects our safety. Sadness helps us grieve and heal. Joy guides us toward meaning and connection. When we stop seeing emotions as problems to solve and start seeing them as messengers to listen to, something gentle shifts. We don't have to agree with every feeling or act on every impulse. But we can meet each one with curiosity instead of fear. We can ask quietly, "What are you trying to tell me? What matters to me here? What do I need right now?" That simple inner conversation changes how we experience every day. Emotions stop feeling like enemies. They become part of the team, sometimes loud, sometimes quiet, but always carrying useful information. You don't need to be an expert at reading these signals overnight. Just noticing them more often is already progress. Over time, you'll start to recognize the early signs of anger rising, fear tightening, sadness settling, or joy flickering. That early noticing gives you power. You get to choose how to respond instead of being carried away. Take a moment now. Think of the last time you felt one of these four emotions strongly. Without judging yourself, can you hear the quiet message underneath? There's no need to fix anything. Just listen for a second. Chapter 3. The Power of the Pause, Creating Space Between Feeling and Reacting. One of the kindest gifts we can give ourselves is a tiny gap of time between feeling something strong and doing something about it. That small space, sometimes just 3 seconds, sometimes 10, is where real emotional control begins. We call it the pause. It sounds simple, but it changes almost everything. Most of us have had the experience. Anger flares up, words fly out of our mouth before we can catch them, and 5 minutes later we are thinking, "I wish I had waited." Or anxiety spikes. We say yes to something we didn't really want, and then spend days feeling trapped. Or fear makes us shut down and stay silent when we actually needed to speak. In each case, the emotion moved faster than our thinking mind. The pause gives our wiser, calmer side a chance to catch up. Think of it like this. When a fire alarm goes off in a building, everyone starts moving quickly. But trained firefighters don't just run toward the noise. They pause for a second to assess. Where's the smoke? What's the fastest safe exit? Who needs help first? That brief assessment saves lives. The pause in our emotional life works the same way. It lets us look at the situation clearly before we act. The beautiful thing is that the pause doesn't have to be long to be powerful. Even a single slow breath can be enough to shift the momentum. You feel the heat of irritation rising. You take one full breath in and out, and suddenly you notice you have a choice. You don't have to send that sharp reply. You don't have to walk away in silence. You can decide what kind of person you want to be in this moment. Here are a few gentle, everyday ways to create that space when emotions start to surge. 1. One conscious breath, the simplest and fastest tool. When you notice tension, heat, or a racing heart, just breathe in slowly through your nose for about 4 seconds. Hold for a second or two if it feels okay. Then let the breath out gently through your mouth for 5 or 6 seconds. That single breath lowers the volume on the survival alarm in your body and gives your thinking brain a moment to wake up. 2. Name what you feel, silently or quietly. Say to yourself, I'm feeling really angry right now. Or this is anxiety. Or I'm hurt. Naming the emotion without judging it reduces its intensity almost instantly. Research shows that simply putting a label on the feeling calms the part of the brain that's sounding the alarm. It's like telling a frightened child, I see you, I'm here. The feeling doesn't disappear, but it stops feeling so overwhelming. 3. Ask one helpful question in that short space you've created. Ask yourself something kind and useful. What do I really need right now? What would I say to a good friend who felt this way? Will this still matter tomorrow? What's the kindest response I can give, both to myself and to the other person? One small question can steer you away from reaction and toward a response you'll feel good about later. 4. Use a physical signal. Some people find it helpful to have a tiny physical cue that reminds them to pause. It could be pressing your thumb and forefinger together, touching your wrist, taking a slow sip of water, or even just sitting up a little straighter. The body remembers these signals over time, and they become a quick way to say, okay, let's slow down for a second. 5. Step away if you can. If the feeling is very strong and you have the chance, excuse yourself politely for a minute or two. Walk to another room, step outside, go to the bathroom, anything that gives you physical distance. Even 30 seconds of fresh air can change the entire direction of a conversation. The pause isn't about suppressing your emotions or pretending everything is fine. It's about giving yourself permission to feel what you feel and still choose how you want to behave. You can be angry and still speak respectfully. You can feel anxious and still take the next brave step. You can feel hurt and still set a healthy boundary without attacking. At first, remembering to pause can feel awkward or slow. That's normal. You're building a new habit. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate every time you manage even a tiny pause. Maybe you caught yourself before sending a heated message, or you took a breath instead of snapping back. Each of those moments is a victory. They add up quickly. Over time, the pause starts to feel more natural. The space between feeling and reacting grows a little wider. You notice emotions sooner. You recover faster. Arguments lose their sharp edges. You begin to trust yourself more because you know you can handle strong feelings without losing your balance. And here's something gentle to remember. You don't need to pause perfectly every time. Even if you react first and then catch yourself afterward, you can still repair. You can say, I'm sorry I spoke so sharply. Let me try that again. That repair is also part of emotional control, and it often deepens trust in relationships. The pause is not about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming free. Free to choose your words, your tone, your actions. Free to show up as the person you truly want to be, even when the inner weather is stormy. Right now, just notice your breathing for a moment. No need to change it. Just feel the air moving in and out. That small noticing is already a pause. You're doing it. You're already practicing. Chapter 4. Calming your body when emotions feel too big. Sometimes emotions arrive with so much force that they take over our whole body. Your heart races, your chest tightens, your hands feel shaky, your stomach twists, or your shoulders feel like they're carrying a heavy bag. When this happens, thinking alone is not enough. The body is shouting louder than the mind. The fastest way to regain balance is to start with the body itself. When the body begins to settle, the mind usually follows. Our nervous system has two main settings, one that prepares us for action, fight, flight, or freeze, and one that helps us rest, recover, and feel safe. Strong emotions flip us into the first setting very quickly. Calming techniques gently guide the body back toward the second setting, the calm, grounded place where we can think clearly again. You don't need fancy tools or a quiet room. Most of these practices can be done anywhere, at your desk, in a car, standing in line, or sitting through a tense conversation. Let's look at some gentle, effective ways to bring the body back to calm when emotions feel too big. 1. Slow, long exhales. The breath is the quickest bridge between body and mind. When we are upset, we often breathe fast and shallow, which keeps the alarm system turned on. Try this. Breathe in normally through your nose, then let the out-breath be slow and long, about twice as long as the in-breath. For example, inhale for 3 seconds, exhale for 5 or 6 seconds. Do this for 4 or 5 breaths. Long exhales send a direct signal to your nervous system. It's safe to relax now. You'll often feel your shoulders drop a little or your heart rate slow even after just a few rounds. 2. Hands on heart and belly. Place one hand on the center of your chest and the other on your lower belly. Feel the warmth of your own hands. Breathe slowly and notice how your belly gently rises and falls under your hand. This simple touch reminds your body of safety and care. It's like giving yourself a quiet hug. Many people find this brings a sense of steadiness within seconds. 3. Grounding through your feet. If you're sitting or standing, press your feet gently but firmly into the floor. Feel the contact, the heels, the balls of the feet, the toes. You can even wiggle your toes inside your shoes. Silently say to yourself, "My feet are touching the ground. The ground is holding me." This small action pulls your attention away from racing thoughts and back into the present moment. It helps when your mind feels like it's spinning. 4. Gentle movement. Sometimes the body needs to release built-up energy. You can do this quietly. Roll your shoulders back a few times, then let them drop. Stretch your arms overhead, then shake your hands gently as if flicking water off them. If you have privacy, stand and sway side to side very slowly, like a tree in a soft wind. These small movements help the body discharge tension without needing to run or fight. 5. Cold water or temperature shift. Splash cool water on your face or wrists. Hold a cold bottle against your neck or forehead, or sip ice-cold water slowly. The sudden change in temperature activates a calming reflex in the body called the dive response. It slows your heart rate and brings attention back to the here and now. 6. 5-4-3-2-1 Grounding. This one is especially helpful when everything feels overwhelming. Look around and name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste, or notice the taste in your mouth right now. Going through the senses brings you out of the emotional storm and back into the room. None of these need to be done perfectly. The goal is not to make the emotion disappear completely. It's to turn the volume down enough so you can breathe, think, and choose your next step. Even a 20 to 30% reduction in physical intensity makes a big difference. A gentle reminder: if the emotion feels huge because of something painful that happened long ago, or if these feelings come often and strongly, it's okay to ask for extra support from a trusted friend, family member, or professional. Calming the body is a powerful first step, but sometimes we also need someone to help us carry heavier pieces of our story. Try one of these right now, just for a moment. Pick whichever feels easiest. A slow exhale, hands on heart and belly, or pressing your feet into the floor. Notice what changes. Even the tiniest shift counts. Over time, your body starts to remember these signals. The more you practice calming techniques when you're only a little upset, the easier it becomes to use them when the wave feels big. You begin to trust that you have ways to come back to yourself, no matter how strong the feeling. This is real strength, not never feeling big emotions, but knowing you can meet them, calm your body, and still choose how you want to move forward. That quiet confidence grows with every small moment you give your body the care it needs. Chapter 5. Friendly Self-Talk. Speaking to yourself with the same kindness you offer others. The way we talk to ourselves matters more than most of us realize. When something goes wrong, a mistake at work, an argument with someone we care about, a day that feels heavy, we often become our own harshest critic. The inner voice can turn sharp very quickly. How could you be so stupid? You always mess things up. No wonder nobody takes you seriously. Those words sting. And because they come from inside, they land deeper than anything anyone else could say. Now imagine a good friend made the exact same mistake. Would you speak to them the same way? Probably not. You'd likely say something gentle instead. It's okay, everyone slips up sometimes. You were trying your best. You're still a good person. This doesn't change that. That softer tone feels natural when we are talking to someone we care about. The quiet truth is that we deserve to hear the same kindness from ourselves. Friendly self-talk is not about pretending everything is perfect or forcing fake positivity. It's about choosing words that are honest, supportive, and fair, the same way we naturally speak to people we value. When we practice this inner kindness, something gentle begins to happen. We feel steadier, we recover from setbacks faster, and we treat others with more patience because we are no longer running on empty from beating ourselves up. Let's look at why the inner critic shows up so often. Most of us learned our self-talk patterns early in life. Maybe a parent, teacher, or older sibling was hard on us when we made mistakes. Maybe we watched people around us criticize themselves harshly and thought that was normal. Over time, those critical phrases became automatic. The good news is that automatic doesn't mean permanent. We can teach the inner voice new habits, just like we teach ourselves any other skill, with patience and repetition. Here are some simple, practical ways to start shifting toward friendlier self-talk. 1. Catch the harsh words first. You don't have to stop the critical thought immediately, just notice it. When you hear something mean inside, pause and say quietly to yourself, "There's that harsh voice again." Naming it creates a little distance. You're no longer fused with the criticism. You're observing it. That small act of noticing already softens its power. 2. Ask, "Would I say this to a friend?" This one question is like a gentle reality check. When your mind says, "I'm such a failure," picture your best friend standing in front of you. Would you ever tell them, "You're such a failure"? Almost never. So why is it okay to say it to yourself? Usually the answer is, it's not. That realization opens space for a kinder sentence. 3. Offer yourself the sentence you'd give someone else after catching the harsh thought. Try rewriting it as if you were comforting a friend in the same situation. Instead of "I'm so useless," try "This was tough, and I'm still learning." Instead of "I ruined everything," try "I made a mistake, but mistakes don't define me." Instead of "I should have known better," try "I did the best I could with what I knew at the time." Say the kinder version out loud if you're alone, or at least clearly in your mind. It may feel a little strange at first, but keep going. The warmth starts to feel more natural with practice. 4. Add one kind word to every tough moment. You don't need to rewrite everything perfectly. Sometimes just adding a single gentle word helps. "I messed up, and that's okay. This hurts, and I'm allowed to feel it. I'm struggling, and I'm still worth caring for." That little word acts like a soft blanket around the hard feeling. 5. Talk to yourself like you're talking to a younger version of you. Picture yourself at 5 or 10 years old. Small, trying hard, still figuring things out. When the inner critic starts, imagine speaking to that younger you instead. Almost everyone softens instantly. It's all right, sweetheart. You're doing your best. That tone of care can melt tension faster than almost anything else. Friendly self-talk doesn't mean you stop noticing mistakes or areas where you want to grow. It means you give yourself the same encouragement you'd offer someone you love while you work on those things. Growth happens more easily when we feel safe, not when we feel attacked. You might worry that being kind to yourself will make you lazy or let yourself off the hook too easily. In reality, the opposite usually happens. When we stop spending so much energy on self-criticism, we have more energy left for real change. We are more willing to try again because we know we won't be torn apart if things don't go perfectly. Take a small moment right now. Think of something you've been hard on yourself about lately. Notice the words your mind uses. Now, just once, try saying something kinder to yourself about it. Something you'd say to a dear friend. Feel what happens in your body when you do. Even a tiny shift toward warmth is progress. You don't have to be perfect at this. Some days the old critical voice will still be loud. That's okay. When it happens, you can simply notice it. Take one slow breath, and try again. Each time you choose kindness over criticism, you're strengthening a new path inside. Over weeks and months, that path gets wider and easier to walk. Being gentle with yourself is one of the strongest things you can do. It builds inner safety. It helps you stay steady when life feels shaky. And it lets you show up in the world with more patience, more courage, and more genuine care for yourself and everyone around you. Chapter 6. Handling anger without letting it control you. Anger is one of the most intense emotions we carry. It can show up quickly, feel very strong, and make us believe we have to do something right now. The truth is, anger itself is not wrong. It's a natural signal that something feels unfair, disrespectful, threatening, or deeply important to us. The real question is not how do I stop feeling angry, but how do I feel the anger fully and still stay in charge of what I say and do? When anger takes control, we often regret it later. Words come out sharper than we meant. Decisions get made in the heat of the moment. Relationships get bruised. But when we learn to handle anger instead of letting it handle us, we keep our dignity, protect the people we care about, and usually find better solutions to whatever caused the feeling in the first place. Here are gentle, practical steps you can use the next time anger starts rising. 1. Recognize the early signs in your body. Anger rarely arrives without warning. Most people have early signals: a hot face, tight jaw, faster heartbeat, clenched fists, shallow breathing, or a rush of energy in the arms and legs. The sooner you notice these signs, the more time you have to choose your response. When you catch the first hint, silently say to yourself, "This is anger starting. Okay, I see you." Naming it takes away some of its automatic power. 2. Create your pause. Even if it's short, you already know how powerful a pause can be. Use it here. Take one slow breath, or 3 if you can. Step away for a moment if possible. Even turning your body slightly or looking at something neutral, a wall, the floor, a window, can interrupt the rush. That small break gives your thinking mind a chance to join the conversation before your impulses run the show. 3. Ask the quiet questions that matter in that brief space. Try 1 or 2 of these. What exactly am I angry about? Often the first answer is surface level. The second or third layer shows what really hurts or feels threatened. What value of mine feels stepped on right now? Respect, fairness, safety, honesty, kindness. What do I actually need in this moment? To be heard, to feel safe, to have a boundary respected. These questions move you from "I'm so mad" to "this matters to me because." That shift changes everything. 4. Release the physical energy safely. Anger gives you energy meant for action. If you can't use it in a helpful way right then, give your body a safe outlet. Squeeze and release your hands or fists several times. Push against a wall or press your palms together hard for a few seconds. Walk briskly for a minute or two, even around the room. If you're alone, let out a low, controlled sound like a long SSSSS or a quiet growl into a pillow. These small releases lower the pressure so the emotion doesn't keep building. 5. Speak from I instead of you when you're ready to express the anger, and only when you feel a bit steadier. Use I feel statements rather than pointing fingers. Instead of, you're so selfish. Try, I feel really hurt and frustrated when my needs aren't considered. Instead of, you never listen. Try, I feel ignored and unimportant when I'm interrupted. I statements don't erase the anger, they simply make it clearer and less attacking. The other person is far more likely to hear you instead of defending. 6. Give yourself permission to step away. Sometimes the wisest choice is to say, I'm feeling very angry right now and I need a few minutes to calm down so I can talk about this clearly. Then leave the room or change the subject for a short time. Most people respect honesty like that far more than an explosion. Coming back later with a clearer head almost always leads to a better conversation. 7. Repair when you don't get it right. We all slip sometimes. If anger takes over and you say or do something you regret, own it as soon as you can. A simple, sincere repair sounds like, I'm sorry I raised my voice earlier. I was upset, but that's not how I want to speak to you. Can we try that again? Owning the mistake without excuses builds trust faster than pretending it didn't happen. Anger handled well can actually strengthen relationships. When you express it clearly and respectfully, people understand what matters to you. Boundaries become clearer. Needs get met more often. You show yourself, and others, that strong feelings don't have to mean losing control. One last gentle reminder, you don't have to be calm to be kind. You can feel furious inside and still choose words and actions that are fair and honest. That choice is real power. Try this the next time anger visits. Notice it early, breathe, ask what's underneath, release the energy safely, and then decide how you want to respond. Even 1 or 2 of these steps will make a difference. Chapter 7. Moving through anxiety. Small steps that make fear feel manageable. Anxiety can feel like a storm that arrives without warning. Your mind races with what-if thoughts, your chest feels tight, your hands might tremble, and sometimes it seems hard to catch a full breath. The good news is that you don't have to make the anxiety disappear completely to feel more in control. Often, the most helpful path is to meet it gently and move through it one small, manageable step at a time. Anxiety is your body's way of saying, I'm trying to keep you safe from something that might go wrong. Sometimes that warning is accurate and useful, like feeling nervous before crossing a busy street. Other times it grows much bigger than the actual situation calls for, turning small worries into spirals that feel impossible to stop. Either way, the feeling is real, and it deserves kindness rather than fighting. The goal here is not to become fearless. It's to learn that you can feel anxious and still move forward. Small, repeated steps build trust in yourself. I've handled this before, and I can handle it again. Let's look at some gentle, practical ways to make anxiety feel less overwhelming. 1. Name it without judgment. The moment you notice the familiar tightness or racing thoughts, try saying to yourself, silently or quietly, this is anxiety showing up. Or my body is feeling worried right now. Naming it creates a tiny distance between you and the feeling. You're no longer lost inside the anxiety, you're observing it. That small shift often softens the intensity right away. 2. Return to your body with one slow breath. Anxiety loves to live in the future, pulling your mind toward things that haven't happened yet. A slow breath brings you back to right now. Try this. Inhale gently through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 2 seconds if that feels okay. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. Repeat 3 or 4 times. You don't need to force calm. Just give your nervous system a few moments of steady rhythm. Most people notice at least a small drop in tension after a handful of these breaths. 3. Break the moment into the tiniest next step. Anxiety often makes everything feel huge and urgent. Ask yourself, what is the very next small thing I can do? If you're anxious about a conversation, I can open my notes and read the first sentence. If you're anxious about leaving the house, I can put on my shoes and step outside for 1 minute. If you're anxious about sleep, I can lie down and close my eyes for 5 minutes. No pressure to fall asleep. Tiny steps feel doable, and completing even one builds a quiet sense of I can do hard things. 4. Use a simple grounding phrase. Pick one short sentence you can repeat when the wave feels strong. Examples. This feeling will pass. I'm here, right now, and I'm safe. I've felt this before and I got through it. Say it slowly, like a quiet friend talking to you. Repeating a steady phrase gives your mind something calm to hold onto when thoughts are spinning. 5. Limit the what-if spiral with gentle redirection when your mind starts running worst-case stories. Try this. Acknowledge the worry. Okay, my mind is imagining something scary. Then gently ask, and what's the most likely thing that will actually happen? Or, if the worst did happen, what small step could I take then? You don't have to argue the fear away, just give your mind a slightly wider view so it doesn't stay stuck in the darkest corner. 6. Move your body in small ways. Anxiety holds a lot of energy. Gentle movement helps release it. Walk slowly around the room or up and down a hallway. Stretch your arms overhead, then let them fall. Shake your hands and arms like you're shaking off water. Even 1 minute of movement can shift the physical load of anxiety and make it feel less stuck. 7. Celebrate every small win after you move through a moment of anxiety, even imperfectly. Give yourself a quiet nod of recognition. I felt that wave and I stayed with it. That matters. Small celebrations teach your nervous system that facing fear is safe and that you are capable. Anxiety may visit often, especially during change, uncertainty, or times when old worries get stirred up. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. The more you practice these small tools, the less power anxiety has to hijack your day. You start to see it as a visitor rather than a permanent resident. If anxiety feels very big or comes so frequently that it's hard to do daily things, talking with a kind professional can make a big difference. You don't have to carry the heaviest pieces alone. For now, just remember, one breath, one small step, one kind word to yourself. That's enough to begin. You don't need to fix everything today. You only need to meet this moment with a little more gentleness than yesterday. Chapter 8. Letting sadness flow, healing instead of fighting it. Sadness arrives quietly, like a heavy cloud settling over the day. It can make everything feel slower, heavier, and a little gray. The eyes might sting, the chest might ache, the body might want to curl up or move very little. Many of us have been taught, sometimes without words, that sadness is something to push away, fix quickly, or hide. But sadness has its own gentle purpose, and when we let it flow instead of fighting it, healing happens naturally. Sadness is the heart's way of saying goodbye, or of acknowledging that something precious has been lost or changed. It could be the loss of a person, a relationship, a job, a dream, a season of life, or even a version of ourselves we once were. Sadness helps us feel the weight of what mattered. It slows us down so we can process, remember, and eventually release what needs to be released. When we try to block sadness, by staying busy, forcing smiles, telling ourselves I should be over this by now, or numbing it with distractions, it doesn't disappear. It lingers in the background, showing up as tiredness that won't lift, irritation that flares easily, or a quiet emptiness that's hard to name. Fighting sadness often makes it heavier because we add a layer of self-judgment on top of the original pain. Letting sadness flow is different. It means giving it space to move through without rushing it out the door. It means saying to yourself, in small quiet ways, this hurts, and it's okay that it hurts. That simple permission is powerful. It tells your whole self that you are allowed to feel what you feel. Here are some gentle ways to let sadness move through instead of getting stuck. 1. Name it softly when the heaviness arrives. Try saying to yourself, "This is sadness." Or, "I'm feeling really sad right now." You don't have to add any explanation or fix. Just naming it with kindness often softens the edges. It's like turning on a small light in a dark room. You can see what's there without being overwhelmed by it. 2. Let your body have it say sadness lives in the body as much as the mind. Let it express itself naturally. Cry if tears want to come. No need to hold them back or feel embarrassed. Tears carry stress hormones out of the body. Rest, lie down, curl up under a blanket, or sit quietly with your arms around yourself. Move slowly, walk outside at a gentle pace, sway gently to soft music, or simply rock back and forth. The body knows how to release sadness when we stop telling it to hurry up. 3. Give sadness a small container of time if the feeling feels endless. Try setting aside 10 or 15 minutes to be with it fully. Sit somewhere quiet, put on a song that matches how you feel, hold something comforting, a pillow, a warm mug, a soft scarf, and let yourself feel whatever comes. When the time is up, you can gently shift to something small and neutral, making tea, watering a plant, folding laundry. This doesn't mean sadness is finished. It means you're giving it room without letting it take over the whole day. 4. Speak to yourself like a caring friend. Sadness often brings self-critical thoughts. "I should be stronger. Other people handle this better." When those thoughts arrive, answer them with gentleness. "It's okay to feel this way. This loss really mattered to me. I'm allowed to take as long as I need. I'm still here, even when it hurts." These quiet words remind you that sadness is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of love for what was important. 5. Let others witness it if you want to. Sadness often softens when shared with someone safe. You don't have to explain everything or ask for solutions. Sometimes just saying, "I'm feeling really sad today," and having someone sit with you, quietly, without trying to fix it, can feel like the heaviest part is being carried together. If sharing feels too big right now, that's okay too. Even writing a few honest sentences in a notebook can help the feeling move. Sadness does not stay forever when we let it flow. It has a natural rhythm. It rises, it lingers, and slowly, sometimes very slowly, it begins to ebb. The ache doesn't vanish, but it changes shape. The memories that once cut deeply start to feel tender instead of sharp. Space opens for new moments, new connections, new lightness. One of the most beautiful things about allowing sadness is that it makes joy possible again. When we stop spending energy fighting what hurts, we have more energy left to notice small good things: a warm breeze, a kind word, a laugh that surprises us. Sadness and joy are not opposites. They are neighbors. Letting one move through freely makes room for the other. Right now, if sadness is present for you, try this tiny step. Place one hand on your heart, take one slow breath, and whisper to yourself, "This is allowed." Nothing more. Just that small act of permission can feel like opening a window in a stuffy room. You don't have to rush through sadness. You don't have to prove you're fine. You only need to let it be what it is, for as long as it needs to be. Healing is not the absence of pain. It's learning to carry it with kindness until it feels lighter in your hands. Chapter 9. Finding more everyday joy, inviting lightness back into your days. Joy doesn't always arrive in big, dramatic moments. It often hides in the smallest, quietest places. A warm mug in your hands, the sound of someone you love laughing, sunlight touching your face after a long morning, or the simple feeling of finishing something you started. The good news is that joy is not something we have to chase or earn. It's already waiting in ordinary days, and we can gently invite more of it in by paying attention and making small, kind choices. Many of us get so used to handling the hard things, stress, worries, responsibilities, that we forget to notice when life feels light. We wait for perfect conditions before we allow ourselves to feel good. A vacation, a promotion, everything going smoothly. But waiting for big joy often means missing the small joys that are already here. Everyday joy is quieter, but it's also steadier. It builds a soft cushion under life's harder moments. The goal isn't to force happiness or pretend everything is wonderful. It's to open little windows so more lightness can slip through. Here are gentle ways to invite more everyday joy without adding pressure to your day. 1. Notice one good thing right now. Pause for just 10 seconds and look around. Ask, what is one thing that feels good or pleasant in this exact moment? It might be the softness of your clothes, the taste of your drink, the sound of birds outside, or simply that you're breathing and here. Naming one tiny pleasant thing trains your attention to spot joy more easily. Do it once in the morning, once in the middle of the day, once before bed. 3 small glances add up to a surprising amount of lightness over time. 2. Savor instead of rushing when something nice happens, even something small. Slow down for a few extra seconds to really feel it. Eating a favorite fruit? Notice the sweetness, the texture, the coolness. Hearing a song you love? Let it play without reaching for your phone. Someone smiles at you? Let the warmth of that moment land before moving on. Savoring stretches the good feeling. It tells your brain, this matters. Let's keep an eye out for more like it. 3. Bring back small things that used to spark joy. Think of activities, sounds, smells, or objects that once made you smile as a child or in an easier season of life. A certain kind of music, doodling on paper, walking barefoot on grass, the smell of fresh coffee, watching clouds. Pick one and bring it into your week for just 5 or 10 minutes. No goal, no performance, just a short visit with something that feels good to your heart. 4. Move your body in playful ways. Joy often hides in gentle movement. You don't need a workout, just play a little. Dance slowly to one song in your kitchen. Stretch like a cat waking up. Swing your arms while you walk. Jump a few times just because you can. Playful movement releases feel-good chemicals and reminds your body what lightness feels like. 5. Connect with kindness. Small moments of connection almost always carry joy with them. Send a short message to someone you care about, just thinking of you. Thank someone in person for something ordinary. Smile at a stranger and notice how it feels when they smile back. These tiny exchanges remind us we are not alone, and belonging is one of the deepest sources of everyday joy. 6. Create one tiny yes each day. Ask yourself, what would feel like a gentle yes to me today? It could be reading a few pages of a book you love, sitting outside for 5 minutes, eating something you really enjoy, saying no to an extra task so you have breathing room. One small yes to yourself every day builds a quiet sense that your own comfort and happiness matter. Everyday joy is not loud or perfect. It's soft, brief, and often easy to miss if we are moving too fast or judging ourselves too hard. But when we start collecting these small moments, on purpose, without pressure, they grow into something stronger. A background feeling of life still has sweetness in it, even on difficult days. Try this right now. Take one slow breath and ask yourself, what is one small thing that feels good or pleasant in this very moment? Let the answer come without forcing it. Maybe it's the feeling of air on your skin, the chair holding you, or simply that you're here reading these words. Whatever it is, let it be enough for this second. You don't need to become a constantly happy person. You only need to stay open to the little sparks of joy that are already around you. They're there, quietly waiting for you to notice. The more you welcome them, the more they show up, like old friends who were always nearby. Chapter 10. Building Stronger Boundaries. Protecting your peace with kindness. Boundaries are like a gentle fence around your heart, your time, and your energy. They don't keep everyone out. They simply let you decide who and what gets close, and on what terms. When boundaries are clear and kind, you feel safer inside yourself. You have more room to breathe, to rest, and to give from a place that still feels full instead of drained. Many of us grew up believing that being nice means saying yes to everything, never disappointing anyone, or putting other people's needs ahead of our own. That kind of thinking can leave us feeling stretched thin, resentful, or quietly exhausted. The truth is, Real kindness includes kindness to yourself. And one of the kindest things you can do, for you and for the people around you, is to set boundaries that protect your peace. A boundary isn't a wall built in anger. It's a clear, calm statement of what you need to feel okay. It sounds like, I need some quiet time after work to recharge. I'm not available to talk about this topic right now. I can help with that on Saturday, but not tonight. I feel hurt when I'm interrupted, so please let me finish my thoughts. These sentences aren't mean. They're honest. They give other people the chance to understand you better and treat you with more care. When boundaries are missing or unclear, people often assume everything is fine, even when it isn't. Clear boundaries actually make relationships healthier because everyone knows where they stand. Here are gentle, practical ways to start building stronger boundaries without feeling guilty or harsh. 1. Tune into your body's signals. Your body often knows a boundary has been crossed before your mind catches up. Notice what happens when someone asks too much of you. Tight chest, shallow breathing, heavy shoulders, a sinking stomach, or the urge to pull away. Those sensations are quiet messages saying, "This feels like too much right now." When you feel them, pause. That pause is the first step toward deciding what kind of boundary you need. 2. Start with small, low-stakes boundaries. You don't have to begin with the biggest conversations. Practice in easy places. Say, "I'll let you know," instead of agreeing right away. Turn off notifications for a few hours each day. Ask for 5 minutes alone before joining family time. Small yes or no moments build confidence. Each time you honor a small boundary, you prove to yourself that it's safe to speak up. 3. Use kind, clear language. The most effective boundaries are simple, direct, and spoken with warmth rather than blame. Try these templates. I care about you, and I also need. I'm happy to help, but only if. That doesn't work for me right now, but thank you for asking. I need some space to think about this. Can we talk later? Kind tone plus clear words usually lands much better than silence or sudden distance. 4. Accept that some people will not like it when you start setting boundaries. A few people might push back, get quiet, or even pull away for a while. That reaction belongs to them. It doesn't mean you did something wrong. You are not responsible for making everyone comfortable at the cost of your own peace. The people who truly value you will adjust and respect your needs over time. 5. Protect your time and energy first. Time and energy are not unlimited. Decide what matters most to you each day, then guard those things. Say no to extra tasks that aren't yours to carry. Schedule short breaks even when life feels busy. Choose not to answer messages after a certain hour. When you protect your own resources, you actually have more left to give generously to the people and things that matter most. 6. Repair when you slip. Sometimes you'll say yes when you wanted to say no, or let something slide that bothered you. That's okay. You can always come back later and gently reset the boundary. I realized I overcommitted earlier. I won't be able to do that after all. I'm sorry for the confusion. Repairing honestly shows strength, not weakness. Every boundary you set is an act of self-respect. It says, my needs matter too. And when you treat your own peace with care, you model something beautiful for others. You show that relationships can be loving and respectful at the same time, without anyone having to shrink themselves to fit. Right now, think of one small area where you feel a little stretched or drained. Ask yourself quietly, what would feel kinder to me here? Maybe it's asking for 10 minutes alone, saying no to one extra request this week, or simply giving yourself permission to rest without explaining why. Whatever it is, let that small choice be enough for today. You don't have to become someone who never gives or never bends. You only need to become someone who gives from a place that still feels whole. Boundaries are how you stay whole. They're how you keep showing up with real kindness, first to yourself, and then to everyone else. We've walked quite a distance together. We've looked at anger, fear, sadness, and joy, not as problems to defeat, but as messengers trying to tell us something important. We've practiced pausing before reacting, calming the body when feelings grow big, speaking to ourselves with kindness instead of criticism. We've learned to let sadness flow, to invite small joys back into ordinary days, to protect our peace with clear and gentle boundaries, and to stay steady even when conversations turn difficult. None of these skills make us immune to hard feelings. Life will still bring stormy days. People will still disappoint us sometimes. Plans will still fall apart. Old hurts will still visit now and then. What changes is how we meet those moments. We start to notice sooner. We breathe a little deeper. We give ourselves a moment of space instead of rushing to react. We choose words that match who we want to be. We come back to center more quickly after we've been knocked off balance. And slowly, very slowly, we begin to trust that we can carry whatever comes. This isn't the end of the journey. There is no finish line where emotional control is finally done. There is only practice, gentle, imperfect, honest practice. Some days you'll feel steady and proud of how you handled yourself. Other days you'll look back and wish you'd done things differently. Both are part of the path. Both are okay. Whenever you feel lost again, you already know where to return. One conscious breath. One kind sentence to yourself. One small, doable next step. One moment of noticing what you feel without judging it. That's all it takes to come home to yourself. You don't have to be perfect at this. You never did. You only have to keep showing up for yourself, with the same patience, the same care, the same quiet courage you've already shown by listening to these words. Thank you for walking this path with me. I'm proud of you, not because you've become someone new, but because you've been willing to meet yourself exactly as you are, and love yourself enough to keep growing. May you carry a little more inner peace with you today. May you remember, even on the hardest days, that you are allowed to feel everything, and still choose how you want to move through it. And may you always find your way back to the gentle, steady place inside you that has been there all along. Take one last slow breath with me. Feel it move through you. And whenever you're ready, step back into your day, carrying this small, quiet strength. You've got this. And you're never walking alone.